Good morning from Chicago, the risk management capital of the world. I'm Alan Nuckman with Trading Advantage with your morning market stir for Monday, June 3rd. Some heavy unwinding on Friday afternoon saw the E-mini stock indexes sell off sharply. We were down 1.5% on the day in the E-mini S&P, down 24.5 points at 1629, so breaking below that support point from a couple weeks ago. So we pushed below 1632 on a closing basis, which was the previous low. We'll look to see how we can come back from that. We saw the Dow futures down 219 at 15,100, and the Nasdaq futures were down 30 at 2980. Essentially, all of the selling came in the last hour as we saw unwinding. But actually, if you look at the markets on a weekly basis, the Nasdaq ended up being unchanged, and the S&P and the Dow were only down 1%, even with the big sell-off on Friday afternoon. We saw the euro currency down 63 points as we saw a little bit of flight to quality, 129.83 after making a high at 130.47 during the session. The dollar index got as low as 83.05. Again, 83 is that midpoint from the last month. We'll want to keep an eye on that as support. The dollar index did close as 83.40 with a little bit of flight to quality. Bonds saw some buying and they did bounce off their lows. They traded between 142.5 and 140, ended up closing at 141 essentially. So they were still down on the day, but they came back a full point off the lows when we saw some buying there as stocks sold off in that last hour. Crude oil lost $1.64 at 91.97, and gold lost $19 after making some new relative highs here over the last couple of weeks at 1421.5 yesterday. So those are the highs that we saw since that sell-off in mid-May. So after the big unwinding on Friday afternoon, where do things stand on this Monday morning to start a new trading day? Well, we're coming back once again. We're up 80 points in the Dow futures, 15,180. We're up 7 points in the S&P at 1636. Again, keep an eye on that 1650 level. That's kind of a pivot that we saw last week. When it went below 1650, we saw some selling and some profit taking. Looking at the Nasdaq right now, we're up 11 at 29.91. We're seeing some bounce in the currencies with the euro currency back up a little bit, above 130, 130.15, up 32. It was up 67 points on the week, so it looks like we're forming a base in the euro currency, and the dollar index is trying to push lower. We're down 9 points right now at 83.13. Keep an eye on that midpoint at 83. The bond market is down 11 ticks right now at 140.22. The yield on the 30-year Treasury right now is at 3.32%, so that continues to hold strong. Crude oil's up a few pennies, up 35 cents right now at 92.32. Crude had largely traded between 97 and 94 for a couple of weeks and then pushed to the downside. Crude ended up being down $2 on the week, so essentially that sell-off on Friday took it to the negative. Looking at gold, gold's up $1 right now at $13.94. Gold was up $6 on the week, but it did push up to some new 2-week highs here last week, trying to form a bottom base there. So where do we stand? To wrap up the markets here, with 2 hours to go before the cash stock market opening right now, we're positive. We're building on that sell-off from Friday afternoon. We're coming back. We're up 80 points in the Dow futures, and we're up 7 points in the mini S&P at 1636. I will see you early Tuesday morning for the Morning Market Stir to set up your trading day. Alan Nuckman from Trading Advantage here at the CME Group, where it all comes back to commodities.